Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know what it is like when your perfectionism is a constant god-awful companion. But it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on Rewiring Perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. Today, we are talking about judgment. We're not living in black and white anymore. We're going to the full world of Technicolor, where you can be present and peaceful and enjoy your family and your friends and the beautiful life that you have built and will continue to build for yourself. This episode is actually from the private podcast for private one-on-one coaching. This episode is one of the clients inside of Perfectionism Optimized, the only place where type A driven perfectionistic people quit fighting against themselves forever. One of their favorite episodes. I am sharing it with you because it's the judgment that keeps us from actually being able to evolve and to grow and to stop catastrophizing and ruminating and obsessing over every mistake, and also only being able to see the mistakes, only being able to see the flaws, or, doing something amazing. And then in comes that, or even being so uncomfortable in celebration of yourself because of all of the internal chatter that goes with that. Judgment is something that most perfectionists don't even realize they're doing. The reason why perfectionists tend to be afraid of failure, it's not, oh my goodness, I'm going to fall flat on my face. It's not, oh my goodness, what are other people going to think of me? What it really, really comes down to is how you're going to treat yourself after it happens and how you're going to be able to be with yourself after it happens. And a lot of times it's like, I can't. It feels so icky and so you stay on the sidelines and in your life, and you have all these great dreams and wishes, but you don't go after them. And I don't want that to be you. And I don't think you want that to be you either. So if you are thinking, I want to set an example for my kids, for my family, I don't want to live in fear anymore, because living in fear isn't really being alive. There's one thing to be, I'm living, like it's fine. And there's another thing to be pulsating aliveness, joyful, alive. And I call it the difference between living in black and white, which is judgment, and living in color. If you want to live into color, get out of your own way, stop letting people-pleasing, catastrophizing, ruminating, being scared of failure, judging the shit out of yourself, and all the other perfectionistic patterns that are holding you back in some way. You don't want to wait 6 more years, and you want to do it in an empowering and playful way. Like, instead of just going to therapy, playing the victim to perfectionism and how it's so much bigger than you, and you're in recovery from perfectionism because it's just so hard. If that sounds like garbage to you and you want to actually do something that is scientifically proven and that will change your whole life, like every aspect of your life, your relationship, your eating, your sleeping, your career, every area of your life, will up level and just woof, it's going to be good. Then I invite you to Perfectionism Optimized and enjoy today's episode. Judging yourself, judging other people, being concerned other people are judging you, anything that is involved in the arena of judgment is what has gotten you to where you are today. What we partner on together, and why you're listening to this private podcast, is because you're here for excellence. Turning off the judgment isn't a light switch. A lot of you will say this when we're in session together. You'll be like, okay, so how do I stop judging? I want to stop judging myself. I want to, with the self-judgment. And it's like, okay, well, you practice. Practice makes permanent. That's what you do in between our sessions. And almost all the time, at least some of the time, it's not at all what you thought. And then that's why we work together, because you get more flexible. So that way you can adjust and you can keep going. Harsh judgments. I know you listening to this, we all have, like, that is your brain's protection mechanism. That's what judgments are. Think of it like if you ever watch a scary movie, you know, when you put your hands over your face, I call it the peeker. So you're just sort of like peeking through your fingers. That's what judging is for real. It makes it so that you're unable to see everything. And it's a protection mechanism. It thinks that you're in danger. And it's like, oh my gosh, just look at this. It snaps into the line of judging, whether you're judging yourself of like, how could you do this? You should know better. You're the worst. Or judging other people. They should know better. They shouldn't be doing this. How could they do this? They are awful. This line of thinking, it's not going to get you where you need to go. When the judgment pops up, what we don't want to do is to judge the judgment. That's like literally the worst thing you can do, is when you notice that you're judging and then you judge yourself for judging. A question that I have gotten from many of you is you are wondering what is lurking underneath the judging. You are terrified you're going to find out what's underneath. What will happen and what's happening right now, if this is you, is that you are allowing what is underneath the judgment to run the show. Bringing it up in the sunlight, especially together, it's not dangerous. There is this lie, this urban myth. When we're not looking at the judging that we're doing, think about the peeker stance. We think that we're going to hurt less. And it's like, no, you're just collateral damage hurt. When you're refusing to acknowledge the judgment, when you're justifying the judgment, it's coming at you from all kinds of angles, like tiny punches. Like you being in a room full of 20 people punching you kind of, rather than just being like, hey, let me find out what it is. Get one punch in the gut and let it be over with. Rather than people continually giving you little jabs for 20 years and you thinking it's really important. Like, I'd rather just have it rain outside one day than have perpetually frizzy hair, always be worried that like my hair is going to like balloon out or something. It's not the judgment you're doing that makes it hard. It's your relationship that you have with your judgment. Even after being a coach, being a clinician, the judgment still comes up. It's not a problem. It doesn't debilitate me. It doesn't stop me from doing things. Sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm in the peeker. I'm like, who put on this RGB outfit over here? And then I'm like, wait, we're not doing that. The difference is I don't make it mean anything. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It totally makes sense why judgment might be coming up. But we caught it. We're not going to do anything with it. And then like, what is this trying to show us? There's nothing about myself that I am unwilling to see and look at. Oh, okay, that's not a problem. There's so much more freedom with it. Just think of it like weather patterns. You can go outside when it's rainy. It doesn't ruin your day. And we'll even get you some cool hunter rain boots that you can wear. Oftentimes, we want to shun or ignore that part of us, like quiet them down. We want to be like, oh my God, will you stop? Instead, what I invite you to is to bring some levity to the gravity of it. Just like, hey, how are you? Guess what? We're not judging today. I know you're really excited. You're wearing your robe. You have your gavel and everything. And I can tell you are ready to go. Hey, appreciate you. And just really like leaning into it with some playfulness. Because when you think about someone that's like super judgy, they really need some playfulness in their life. Like the judgy part of me, she is so rectally clenched. Sometimes she scowls if I'm like personifying this part. Okay, so how do I stop judging? Being the scientist is the most effective tool I have found walking hundreds of perfectionistic people just like you through the process of rewiring. When you become the scientist, you come up with a lot more insight and you start to see and notice new things because you're not looking for the same things over and over and over again. My brain is probably judging the same amount that it was when I was unwired and unleveraged. The difference is I am way more attuned to the scientist. If you imagine a bell that's ringing, it's like really loud and annoying. If you cup your hand underneath it, that's what being the scientist is. So your brain still goes about judging. The difference is that you are focusing somewhere else. And in the beginning, it will feel tedious. That's normal. It's just like if you've ever potty trained any of your children before, it is tedious and they don't get it the first time. If you notice yourself judging, just be like, okay, like throw on your lab coat, put on your growth goggles, and just be like, this is good to know. It's really good to know when you're judging. Legit, when you notice you're judging, a power practice for you is be like, oh yes, this means I'm up-leveling my relationships, patterns, and like having peace in my life. In order to do that, guess what's going to happen? You got to experiment with it. When scientists experiments, it can be messy. One of my favorite fictional scientists, Miss Frizzle, take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. We have got to be willing to be messy, to make mistakes. You did this, maybe it didn't work. Like, think about it like an outfit that you're trying and you're like, okay, maybe steel-toed Doc Martens with the long maxi skirt. I love the look of it, but like actually walking the 5 miles, the blisters, and it just didn't work out. But that doesn't mean that like I'm going to stop wearing cool outfits. Same thing for you. The scientist helps to be like, well, it's an experiment. It's nothing personal. I recently had some trolling on the podcast in the reviews section. What made it so that I didn't stop doing what I'm doing or like address it or like be deterred is because I just look at it as an experiment. It doesn't mean that I don't take it seriously, but I'm able to take the pressure and the heaviness and like getting it right and making sure everybody loves it. And every review is 5 stars. It's an experiment. And any scientist will tell you a theory can only develop through experiments. Like you have a hypothesis, but then you test it out. That's what you do in between our sessions. As the scientist, you ask yourself, what did I learn? Because the scientist sees everything as data. You pull it out of the personal and you bring it out into the sunlight and look at it like a scientist. Let's just look at it. Now, here is the best part of this episode. You take action. We are doers around here. Enough sitting around and contemplating. Want to see if something really works? Go out and test it, you scientist, you. You have doubts? Let's go out and test this. Let's call upon the scientist in you. Basketball is my favorite sport. One of the greatest basketball coaches. He has won like the most championships out of any collegiate basketball coach. His philosophy was, let's just focus on today. Let's make today in practice our masterpiece. We'll let the championship game, like we won't worry about that until it arrives. And then we're going to do the same thing. And you did it another day and you did it another day and another day. But a huge thing that he said to all of his players was, don't be afraid of making mistakes. That's how we learn. It's not personal. Before the game, you all get together in the huddle. He would say, the team that makes the most mistakes today will win. And I want you to take on that mindset. The more mistakes you make, the faster you will rewire and the more you will win. If you ever feel that, oh, I'm not progressing fast enough, if you're like, please bring that up, by the way, in coaching, if you ever think that, the more mistakes you make, especially if someone with perfectionistic tendencies, it's the more opportunities that you get to wear your growth goggles and to develop that resilience and that inner strength and that conviction in yourself so that you have a titanium foundation and that even if you make mistakes or people are upset with you or your partner is being cranky, your children are being cranky, it's like, oh, it doesn't mean anything about you, that like you can still be happy and empathetic and connected and present and be able to enjoy your life, even if everyone around you isn't. Like you just have that like beautiful like inner bliss that comes from being the scientist. So like go out there and play. Don't worry about making mistakes, because what mistakes really mean is that you're playing freely and openly and you're giving your whole heart to what you're doing. You're no longer in fear of being judged and making mistakes, and you're no longer self-conscious all the time. Like, oh, I hope I don't make a mistake. Like, if you think about going back to the basketball analogy, you're open. You just shoot the ball and you don't worry about missing the shot. And it is really a brilliant approach. Being the scientist, to have your moment-to-moment practice be more important than the outcome. Because when you do that, the outcome takes care of itself. If you want to bring this for extra credit, aim for 100 mistakes this month, because mistakes, all they are lines of discovery when you're a scientist. This is how you develop resilience. This is how we get to see, are the judge's robes tattooed on your body? Not a problem. We can remove them, because it's not about the mistakes. It's not about looking foolish. It's about the judgment that comes with it. Clients that progress the fastest, that rewire the fastest, not that it's a race or anything like that, but just are like seeing gain after gain after gain after gain, day after day after day, is who are the quickest to surrender the judgment and to go right into being the scientist, especially when it's uncomfortable. The beauty of you having me in your corner and as your coach is that you don't have to go through it alone, that you have a no judgment zone, a double entendre that you can come to and just be like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Let it all out. Let's just go. Cool. What do you want to do about it? What matters most is you unlearning being the judge of yourself and actively decide to become the scientist of your perfectionistic patterns and unhelpful habits. And if any of those feel hard for you, let's talk about it inside coaching. A judging mind, it makes your world very small and dangerous. Whether you want to stop playing out worst case scenarios in your head or be joyfully present, ambitious again, you don't need more rigid rules, guesswork, or hard work in perfectionism recovery. You need a framework that helps you understand and, most importantly, rewire your perfectionistic habits from the inside out. It starts with Perfectionism Optimized. This radically different, proven, proprietary approach helps you succeed by dropping the contempt and judgment that blocks change. Discover how to trust yourself, take control of your world, and feel truly empowered to own your perfectionism instead of being owned by it. Head on over to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/optimized and start your transformation today.